Okay, everyone, so I was asked maybe 2 years ago when I first started uploading stuff about Hopkins if I would do a stats video. And I said yes, and then kind of pushed it off, whatever. Didn't seem that important, and I wasn't sure that the stats culture is something we should really be feeding into. But then recently I was on TikTok and I was looking at all the accepted students at Hopkins. They were making TikToks, talking about it or just reacting or whatever, and all the comments were like stats, stats, stats. Everyone wants to know about stats. So I figured, you know what, let me just put it out there and see how it goes. So to start with, this video, I think we're gonna just be talking about Hopkins. I'm gonna be talking about, my high school experience and what I think helped me get into Hopkins, but I guess you guys can let me know if you want to hear about any of my other college applications. I know some people might want to hear about the Columbia application, the Cornell application. I got into both of those schools. If you're just here to hear about what my high school experience was like, then yeah, just keep going, and then at the end I'm just going to talk about Hopkins specifically and the application process. So I guess everyone starts with like their SAT or their ACT scores. So I took a practice, the PSAT, and I took a practice ACT, and oh my gosh. Okay, so my ring light is acting up, so if the light changes at the end of this video, it's because I gave up on it. I need to buy a new one. This one's completely fucked. But anyway, SAT scores. I took the practice SAT and the practice ACT. I scored much better on the practice SAT. I think it's because I'm actually a very, very slow reader. So ACT, they say it's more intuitive, and it's better for people that they're more, I don't want to say literary minded, but like, I don't know, I just feel like they're better readers, like their comprehension skills are better, I don't know, but it's more intuitive in that way. It's not about like how fast you can do things, except I guess how fast you can read. So whatever, I thought I'm never gonna be able to do well in the ACT. I just took the SAT. I took it twice. The first time I got a 1420, and I took it in the fall of my junior year, and I got a 1420. I told my counselor that, and I didn't think that was a competitive score. It definitely is, but for me, I thought I could do better, and I was surrounded by a lot of people who were doing better because I went to a very competitive high school, and I just thought I wouldn't be able to stand out against them. And my counselor was like, do you really think you're gonna be able to improve your score by that much? But I did. So I took it the summer after junior year. This is the first time they were offering summer SATs. I practiced using Khan Academy. I basically did it. I couldn't practice for long periods of time. My ex was like, before my SAT, I just sat in a room and took practice tests for like 2 days straight or something. No, I never practiced like that. I did it on Khan Academy, and I just did like practice problems, or like they would let you do 5 problems and see how fast you could do it, in like 10-15 minutes, to see like if you could finish it. That was really good for me because it was like short bits of practicing the timing and all sorts of problems that I was struggling with, but I didn't have to sit and do it all at once. So it was good, and when I retook it, I got a 1550. So that was a 770 on the reading and 780 on the math. So that was good. I kept that. I also took 2 SAT subject tests. I took the first one actually at the end of my freshman year after I took bio, the bio SAT subject test. Okay, my SAT subject test for bio, molecular bio, I did not take the ecology one because my freshman bio class, it was more molecular based, so I just took the molecular one. I got a 770 on that, and I sent that to colleges. I took the SAT subject test for literature, despite the fact that I'm really bad at reading. That was literally like every practice test I took, I could barely finish it. I got a 720, probably because I literally was rushing so heavy, like it was really hard for me to finish that, but it was just, I didn't know what else to take. I didn't feel like that confident in my math abilities or anything else, and I wanted to have one, which was bio, that was more of a STEM, and then one that was more like creative, so I guess the options were like French, literature. I don't know, maybe they have like history, but I just wasn't good at that thing. That would take much more studying for me to do French or any kind of history. So, I already knew how to read. I just had to learn to take the test. So I just took that and I got a 720. So in terms of SATs, some colleges do ask to see all of your SAT scores, and some only ask to see the best and some super score. And I think just don't ever feel embarrassed about sending in your SAT scores. If you did worse on one and better on another, I think the colleges will just like to see that improvement. So don't worry that they're going to judge you for your old scores, which was something that was kind of going through my head when I did that. But don't worry about it. Yep, my 1420, I got a 750 on the reading and a 670 on the math. So that's really what went up for my second time around. I got a 780 on the math. Oh my goodness. Should I give up? GPA, I think I had about a 3.9, but it's not about that. It's really like Hopkins is going to give you their average SAT score and their average GPA, and it's just an average. They want to see kids that worked hard, that have passions, and they'll see that if you struggled in a couple classes but worked hard, they'll recognize that. There's kids with 4.0 GPAs and 1600 SAT scores that didn't get in, and there are kids with 1320 SATs and I don't know what GPA is, 3.7, whatever they have, that did get in because they were excellent in their own way and they showed it. So it's not really about that. I hate talking about my SAT and GPA because I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. I don't think that's why I got in. There's a lot of kids with high SATs and high GPAs. I'm sure it helped, but it's not about that. Those are my stats. So I just want to talk a little bit about the classes I took as well in my, I guess, let's say junior and senior year. I mean, in my high school, we were required to take classes up until junior year. They told us what classes to take. In junior year, we only had 2 slots for electives. I took AP French and I took physics. I either had to take physics junior year or senior year, and I just wanted to get it out of the way, so I took it junior year. Senior year, I could basically choose whatever I wanted to take, and I knew a lot of people that were taking as many APs as possible because they thought it looked good, and taking really hard classes because they thought that's what the colleges wanted to see, and I didn't exactly do that. I think it worked out for me. I didn't make choices based on what I thought colleges would see. I made choices based on what I was passionate about, and I performed well because of it, and I think colleges saw that. In my fall of senior year, what did I take? I took French 5, so that was the highest level of French that we could take in our high school. I took organic chemistry. I did that because I guess I was curious, and the teacher really sold me on it. It wasn't like a math intensive class. It was more about like the reactions and stuff like that. So that's why I took it. I wanted to take a science, but I didn't think that I would be able to take AP Physics or AP Chem because I didn't believe in my abilities at the time to perform well in those classes, and I'm not sure I would have in a high school environment, but maybe. I don't know. And then I didn't take AP Bio because I figured I would take bio in college anyway, and I don't know, I had heard that a lot of people that liked bio didn't end up liking the class, and I didn't want my love for biology to be squashed in the rush to learn a bunch of stuff for the AP and learn stuff for a test. I didn't want that. So I took organic chemistry, French. I took AP Calc AB. I did not take BC. Why? Because first of all, I was never in advanced math. I'm okay at it. I did really well in calc, but I guess didn't really believe in my abilities. But also my math teacher junior year said that it's a really good opportunity to take AB because in college it's a semester's worth of calc that you get to do for the whole year. So you get to take more time and you learn it better. And I wanted that. I wanted that foundation instead of learning all of that AB calc. In a semester, I learned it in 2. So yeah, I took that, and then I took 2 English classes. So I was applying to Hopkins for behavioral biology, which is science, but I still took 2 English classes. That wasn't the rigorous thing to do, but that's what I wanted. So I took advanced essay writing, and I took gender and sexuality in literature. So that was my fall. And then in the spring, some of those classes carried over. So French, Orgo, and the calc class all carried over. But then I took new classes. I took an art class, computer assisted design, and I took another writing class, which was art of memoir. So that's what I did. Those were my classes. I did really well, but I think it's just because I picked classes that I liked and I didn't choose it because they looked good. They probably weren't the most rigorous classes that I could have taken. It's not all about APs. I only took 1 AP my senior year and only took 2 APs in my entire high school career. See? Not all about APs. Don't worry about that. Extracurriculars, I think that's kind of what got me into college, honestly. What was I doing? I mean, I was a gymnast for a lot of my life, and then once I left, I just started trying all different things. I started taking classes of museum natural history, which led to me doing an internship there. I was volunteering in a community organization that aims to stop gun violence. I did a work study at the Brooklyn Museum, which was an art thing, and I was volunteering at the Salvation Army a little bit on the side. And after I left gymnastics, I started doing taekwondo, and I did a little bit of softball. So I don't know, it wasn't like a cohesive thing that I did, I guess. I just started sampling, started doing all sorts of stuff, whatever I felt interested in and passionate about, and they saw that. They admired it. So and I just want to say, like, I'm saying, oh, they liked that in me and all that, but there's so many stupid things that go into why they choose one person and not another person. So it's not because, like, I was the most deserving of whatever. I just fit whatever they were looking for at the time, and I think maybe if I had indicated on my application that I wanted to be a neuro major or something, I might have not gotten in. They're looking to fill certain majors as well. They have a million neuro majors, a million pre-meds, and they don't have a lot of behavioral bio majors, so it might have been that. They might have said, okay, we really like this girl, and she's going into a major that is maybe not as competitive. We want people that fill this niche, and that's why I got in. You just have to take your acceptances and rejections with a grain of salt. There's so many really well-qualified people, and it's almost like flipping a coin, and I got lucky. I definitely worked hard, but I don't think I was more deserving than anyone that didn't get in. I'm going to talk about the application process for my year. I applied in 2017. I got in the spring of 2018. I started in the fall of 2018. I'm going to graduate in the spring of 2022. So that was a while back, I know. Old news. But we had the Common App that we sent to everybody. I wrote my Common App essay about my experience of leaving gymnastics. I had this counselor lady, this college counselor advisor, not through my school, some other lady that was like doing free application readings. I read it. She said that it was too dark, too sad, because in the end, it was a hard time for me. It was sad. The prompt was, like, is there something that you feel your application would be incomplete without saying, or something like that? And I just was like, yeah, just my experience leaving gymnastics. I didn't just leave. It was a really toxic environment for me at the end. I didn't feel good about myself, and I felt scared, I felt anxious, like all of these things. And I kind of talked about that and about how hard it was to leave. I talked about like crying. I mean, it had nothing to do with college. I didn't mention college. I didn't mention anything. I maybe mentioned that I learned to, I don't even know. I don't know if I mentioned something that I learned or like grew from, and that's why she was like, you need to like wrap it up and make it something that like why you're better or what you learned, or like, they always say that, like something you learn, some big experience. But at the end, I just remember that I wrote like, it's called An Update to a Story I Never Told. The prompt was, some students have a background, identity, interest, or talent that is so meaningful they believe their application would be incomplete without it. If this sounds like you, then please share your story. But sometimes you have to see that certain things are broken, and the best way to fix them is to move on. I can't say I never want to feel the way gymnastics made me feel, big, powerful, strong, and exhilarated, but I never want to feel trapped like that again. There's no reconciling the pain of never being good enough, and out of gymnastics, I finally feel good enough. Let me know if anyone would like to read it. I can post it somewhere. It was dark, and I sent that to every single college that I applied to, and I think there was something refreshing about it. You know, people write such clever, beautiful things, and I've read such amazing Common App essays from my friends when we were applying. Beautiful, beautiful writing. I think that's what you should aim for. You're not selling something. You're not selling yourself. You're not a product. You are telling a story that means something to you. You're not trying to show how smart you are or what a good person you are or how you've changed. You know, if you've changed and grown, that's, you know, something that I kind of wrote about in this, just an experience where I was growing. But like, you don't have to make yourself look good, look like a good candidate for your school. I don't know, it's an opportunity to make yourself be a person, show them who you are, what you care about. You don't have to write really matter-of-factly. I know, like, maybe you go on the Common App website, I think, and they probably have some examples, and they're like little kooky, funny ones, whatever. And they like that. It's risky. This was risky. My advisor didn't like it, but I liked it. So I wasn't going to change it. It wasn't a story where I felt good or learned something great for college. Like, no. I was in a toxic situation and I left, and I didn't even necessarily feel good about it. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay. I had to leave because of how bad it was. And you know, I felt better after just to be out of a toxic situation, but I didn't feel good. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying about how, like, this essay wasn't about me learning some lesson. It was just my life, literally. It was that. And then for Hopkins was actually one of the few schools that didn't ask a bunch of questions. I remember Columbia asked all sorts of things, like, when was the last book you read? And, like, do you watch movies? Do you read? Why Columbia? All sorts of things. No, Hopkins asked one question, and it was, tell us about a time you worked as a team. Something like that. Short. And I was like, what the heck am I supposed to do? And this is the one time that college counselor, I think, really helped me, because she sent it to some guy, and he, like, read through it and told me what could be improved. But it was also very short. They didn't want it to be very long. It was less than even this, less than 600 words. Tiny, maybe 250, something like that. Super short. I just wrote about how when I was working as an intern for the Museum of Natural History, I mean, I'm going to relay this story to you. This is not exactly how I told it, but, like, when we were doing our training before our internship, we did, like, a little retreat, and there was this guy, and I thought that he seemed like kind of an asshole, and I was, like, I literally avoided him, but then I got paired up with him for our project, and I was like, dang, like, I was so mad about it, and I said that I had assumed that we weren't going to get along. I didn't think it was going to work, but that, like, throughout the process, I learned that what I learned, we did end up getting along was the thing, so I guess I just learned that, like, you couldn't, I don't remember the specific thing I said I learned, either that, like, you can make friends or anywhere and, like, keep an open mind, or, yeah, something like that, and how we're stronger together. Yeah, that one was kind of, I mean, it was a true story, but it was a bit cheese. It wasn't a personal statement. I didn't feel like it had to be so important. You can cheese whatever you want, but I guess don't cheese your Common App essay. That's the moral of the story. So that's pretty much it. Literally such a short application, it's really hard to stand out. I kind of hated that about Hopkins, but I guess it worked out for me. So yeah, that is all. I will have to go and edit this now. I hope you can hear me. I need to get a mic. I know that, everyone. And I probably need to get a new ring light as well, because it kept turning off. But I fixed it by plugging it into my computer instead of the outlet. I think it was overheating. But I need a new one anyway, because this one's broken. It broke immediately. That's what you get for shopping at Shein. I don't usually for clothes, but I wanted a ring light for cheap, and I got a ring light for cheap. It was very cheaply made. Yes, very cheap. Okay, so this is my stats video. I want you to overall take away that it is not about your numbers. It is about you, but only to a certain extent. Do not feel pressured to take certain classes. Do not feel pressured to get a certain number. Just try and be the best that you can be, and colleges will appreciate that. But at the same time, if you try your best and you submit your best and you don't get in, it's not about you. It doesn't mean you're not good enough. You definitely were good enough. It just didn't happen. And follow your heart, follow extracurriculars that you like. Don't worry about college. Just make sure you're being an exemplary person, the best that you can be. And on your application, be as authentically yourself as possible. Do not try to write cheesy stuff that you think that they will like. Just write stuff that you like, that matters to you, that's meaningful, and that tells your story so that you can be a person to these people reading it, and you're not just one of the millions that they read. You're you. So good luck, everyone. I hope you see this video and that it makes you feel really good. I don't want anyone to see this and feel hopeless or bad at all. So that's my story. Thank you. Bye.